Hello viewers, welcome back, and in this video I will try to give you a little insight about partition literature paper. Okay, partition literature paper, it is the 6 semesters paper of BA in English, and this paper it was held by Dibrugarh University, as you all know, and today was the day. Without any delay, let's try to know about the questions of the paper. Okay, let's begin it. Partition literature. Number one question is answer any one of the following questions. 15 marks is given. And number one question is 1A. Examine how Intejar Hussein's Basti captures the protagonist Zakir's intense feeling of nostalgia and displacement in the backdrop of the partition. So it was not a tough question. If you have read the question at least twice, then all things will be clear. Here the question is asking, we have to examine the novel Basti. How in the novel Basti, the protagonist Zakir, he had tried to depict his feeling of nostalgia and displacement in the backdrop of partition. Means during the partition and before the partition, how his life was, how he had tried to live. That all kind of thing he had tried to discuss in the novel. Okay, so how that thing was described, how that thing is portrayed by the writer, that thing we have to write, and it's not so hard. Okay, next question is asking. Next question is saying that elucidate with examples the motive of strife and loss as it recurs through Intejar Hussein's Basti. So here we have to write with example how the motive of conflict means how the conflict and loss, how it is deliberately presented in the novel Basti, that we have to write. It's very simple. We have to write how the protagonist had lost his beloved due to partition. That kind of all thing according to the question, and with the summary we have to mix that up and then we have to write. It's not so tough. Next question is asking, attempt a critical understanding of the narrative technique of Intejar Hussein's Basti with special reference to the significance of memory as implicit in the text. So this is a little bit complicated here. If you have not read the text, if you have not read the novel line by line, then it will be little bit difficult for you. As I have always said in my videos, that the first thing what you have to do is you have to read the novel line by line. Then after that only you should go for other reference texts or other reference things. Okay, and but despite that, if you have read little bit about the narrative technique of the novel Basti, then too it was not so tough for you. Okay, you just have to write how the narrator has used the narrative technique in the novel, means how the plot, how the occurrences, how the characters are represented in the story. That thing you have to write with example. Next question is asking, it is for 5 mark. Write a short note on any one of the following. Number A is saying metaphorical significance of the character of Sabira. So you have to write about the character of Sabira and why this character is important. Okay. And next question is asking Indian mythology as a literary device in Basti. So here you have to write not too long. You have to write in a short way about the Indian mythology and how Indian mythology has been described, or how Indian mythology has been delineated by the novelist as a literary device in the novel Basti. It was too not so tough. You could have written if you have read the text and if you have read the themes of the text. Next question is asking Zakir's disillusionment with the new nation. So after the partition, we all know Zakir had faced countless troubles, okay, due to this partition thing, and this was only imposed by the politician for their own power struggle. So that thing you have to write with the help of the plot of the novel. Next question, Unit 2, it carries 15 marks. Answer any one of the following questions. Number A is saying, examine Amitabh Ghosh, the shadow lines as an exploration into the issues of national borders and partitioning history in the specific case of India. We all know the whole novel, the shadow line. This whole novel is based on national borders. Okay, how an imaginary border line is created by the nation to separate itself with other nation. So that thing uh, very magnificently described in the novel. So that thing you have to write with the help of the characters, plots, and the events of the story or the novel. It was not so tough. According to me, this is my own personal opinion. Next question is saying, elucidate the contextual significance of the major symbols in Amitabh Ghosh's The Shadow Lines. So here we have to write the contextual significance, means how the major symbols in Amitabh Ghosh's The Shadow Line is presented in the novel. There are many symbols, like the symbols of memory, symbols of nostalgia, symbols of violence, communal violence, cruelty, Hindu-Muslim conflict. They're all things. Okay, that thing you have to write how these were presented. Next question is asking, attempt an explanation of the historical events as they inform into the text of Amitabh Ghosh, The Shadow Lines. So here we have to attempt an explanation of the historical events, how historical events are presented or depicted in the novel The Shadow Lines. So that we have to write. It was not so tough. We have seen how from the beginning of the First World War or the Second World War, the Datta Chaudhary family, they have they have been in touch with the Price family, and that relationship is there has been increasing and growing since that time. And after the Indian partition too, they are still they were friends. So that thing you have to write, and how you have to also include some dates. Okay. Next question is asking, write number 4, write a short note on any one of the following. So here we have to write a short note, and it carries 5 marks. Number 1 is saying character sketch of either Thamma or Ila. So Thamma or Ila, these two characters were very important or pivotal characters from the novel The Shadow Lines, and this was too very easy. It was too not so tough. And Thamma, she is the grandmother, you all know, and Ila, she is too a very prolific character who has played significant role in the novel. So this thing you have to write according to the plot. Next question is asking, it is one of the easiest questions. That number B is saying theme of partition in The Shadow Lines. How partition theme is presented or depicted or delineated by the novelist. It was so easy. You could, I think you had written it very effortlessly. Next question, unit 3. Number 5 is saying answer any one of the following questions. Number 15, it carries 15 marks, so we have to write at least not 5 or 6 pages, right? Okay, answer any one of the following questions. Number 8 is saying analyze critically the metaphorical significance of the house in Dibyendu Palit's Alam's own house. How does the writer bring out the pain of exile and belonging in the story? So this is too not so tough. So here we have to write about the pain of exile, means when you are forced to be somewhere else, okay, from your house, means you are not in your own motherland, okay, but due to some political fight, some conflicts, you are not where you should have been. So that thing you have to write how this thing is delineated by the writer in the book Alam's Own House, okay, and how he longs to be in India or in in India, but due to this boundary issue, due to this partition, he was forced to be in somewhere else. He has to even leave his own house. That thing you have to write. Very simple. Next question: can you read Manik Bandyopadhyay's The Final Solution as a story that rejects gendered roles in the backdrop of the partition? Elucidate. Elucidate means, you all know, it means to explain. So we have to explain here that how the short story The Final Solution by Manik Bandyopadhyay, how this story has tried to discard the gender role. Okay, we all know, we have read this story, and in the story Malika is the protagonist, and Malika, despite though she is a woman, but she still fights to survive in the partition, and she has not waited for her husband to get back and work. Rather, she has left no stone unturned to earn a living, to earn bread and butter for her family and for her own children, or her one. I think she has one child. So for that, maybe I have forgotten. Khokon or what? Okay, so that thing you have to write how gender roles means how, despite being a women, she had left no stone unturned to do what a man does. That thing. Next question. Next question is attempt a critique of the representation of the madhouse in the Toba Tek Singh as symbolic of a microcosm of the nation at large. So this is not so tough. You have already read the book Toba Tek Singh. Toba Tek Singh here written by Manto. So that is utterly based on the madhouse, means how the lunatics, how all the madmen, they were trying to be in the Pakistan. They did not want to live for other place because they thought that this was Pakistan was their own land, their own motherland. They had no idea that India had been separated into two new nations. So that thing you have to read how this is beautifully presented by the writer, the theme of madhouse. Okay, and the next question is asking, or do you consider Lalithambika Antharjanams, A Leaf in the Storm, as a story of violence, survival, and recovery? Explain with example from the text. It was not so tough. So you just have to write that Lalithambika Antharjanams, that short story, A Leaf in a Storm, is that story resonates with the story of violence, survival, and recovery. If it is yes, then how? So that thing you have to write. This is very simple. Here in the short story, there is a protagonist named maybe Jyoti, and how she has, though she was raped, but she still left no stone unturned to live a new life. So that thing you have to write with the help of the plot of the story. Next question. Attempt a short analysis of any one of the following with reference to your prescribed text. So this is reference. We have to write a short analysis, and it carries 5 marks. Number 1 is saying the violated female body in the partition. The violated female body in the partition, it can be seen in the many stories, like number 1 is A Leaf in the Storm, and number 2 is the final solution, how female body were used as a tool of violence by the perpetrator or by the patriarchal society or by the man. That thing you have to write. Next is saying troop of madness in partition literature. Madness we have seen in the name of partition. People were so mad that they were killing each other. So that thing you have to write. Number C, homelessness and exile. Homelessness and exile, this can be seen in many novels like The Shadow Line, Alam's Own House, then in the short story also A Leaf in the Storm, then the final solution. That all thing you have to mix and write it down. That's it. Okay. Next question, you are from the unit 4. Answer any one of the following questions. It carries 15 marks. Number 1 is saying identify and elucidate the note of optimism in Faiz Ahmed Faiz for your lens, my country. Do you consider the poem to be too idealistic given the grave circumstance of the partition? So if you have read the poem For Your Lens, My Country, you might have comprehended that this is not so very tough question, because here we just have to elucidate how the writer is showing optimism despite so much pessimism in his own country, Pakistan. That thing we have to write. And these all were the consequence or the repercussions of partition. But despite that, he was so confident and optimistic that one day this all thing will be extirpated. That thing we have to write. Very simple. Next question is asking, discuss how Jivananda Das poem, I Shall Return to This Bengal, records the loss of a land recreated through a complex set of imagery. So here we have to write how the poet Jivananda Das has tried to describe his loss of a land due to this partition, but despite that, he is still trying to bring back those memories through his imagery, through in the poem, I shall return to this Bengal. Okay, very simple. And the next question, number C, there are some more partitions to be done. That partition was only the first one. In the light of the quoted lines, explain how partition is a continuous process in the subcontinent. So this is the line. It is a very actually this disturbing line here. The line is saying that there are some more partitions to be done. That partition was only the first. So the first partition was India, and means not that the first one was the East Bengal and West Bengal. That was the first partition, and the second was when India and Pakistan was separated. Then Pakistan. West Pakistan and East Pakistan, that was when separated. So this process of partition, it is still going on. So that thing here, this statement is saying that this partition is still going on, and there is uh, more partition on the way. There are more partition on the way, and we have to write those things, those partition thing, that is a continuous process. That thing we have to write according to this line and according to our syllabus. Very simple. Next question, explain with reference to the context. So this is a reference to the context question. It carries 5 marks. Number 1 is from the maybe I shall return to the Bengal. It is not so tough. For love of Bengal's rivers, fields, crops, I will come this way to this sad green source of Bengal, drenched by the Jalangis wave. So here you have to describe about this line, and you can also include other lines from the poetry and the main context of the poem itself. Next question. Number B, this is how people fight oppression. Their ritual isn't new, nor are my ways new. This is how we always grieve flowers in fire. Their defeat isn't new, our victory isn't new. So this thing, from which novel or the text this is taken, I don't know. So please do your own research. I have to locate that mad fellow who used to speak up from a high branch, high above. He is God. He alone has to decide whose village to whose side. So here, the pain of partition can be seen, though they were men. And these lines are taken from the book. What do you call it? By Sadat Manto, Toba Tek Singh from. So that thing you have to write according to the context of these lines. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have tried to learn something from this video. Bye bye.